When people select projects to a portfolio, most of the time, people are just blindfolded. They only think about financial criteria. Which project will bring the biggest revenue? Which project will bring the highest profit? But there are several different criteria that you can and should use to select the right projects to your portfolio. It's important that every time you are selecting candidate projects to your portfolio, let's suppose you have 20 different projects, but your organization or your area is only able to do 3 or 4 of them. So what I want to show some non-usual criteria that you may use to help you to select this. And I put them here. These are just 6 to give you some insights and inspiration. One thing that is very important, I really enjoy and like using scores. And usually I use a score from 0 to 1,000. If a project has a score of 1,000 in one criteria, it means that criteria is extremely good and fulfilled by the project. 0 means no. On that criteria, this project is really bad. And this is just a way to compare apples with apples, because otherwise, how do I compare, for example, projects that are from different areas? For example, in a company, how do you compare an IT project with an engineering project? They have very different budgets, they have very different risks, very different timelines. And this is a way to unify that. But let's go to the criteria. Let's suppose the first criteria. And what is important is not just the criteria, but how do I grade the criteria? So for example, stakeholders. And these criteria, it measures the commitment and interest of executives, teams, and other stakeholders. If they have no support to the project, what would be the grade or the score? 0. Means that project on the stakeholder will be a very challenging project. If you have the total support to that specific project, 1,000 points. And between 0 and 1,000, I put this in a simple way, like a Likert scale. I put little support to the project, medium, or great support. And this goes 250, 500, 750. So as support increases from stakeholder, the project becomes more attractive. Second criteria, risks. And why I'm putting these two together, you will see exactly because on how do I score and how do I make the grades. Risk. In normal context, you don't want risks. You want to select projects that have lower risk. Unless your strategy is to be extremely risky and aggressive. And this is not common. Usually what do you try? You try to get the best benefit, the best outcome with the lowest risk. So what do I want? I want a project with a minimum level of risk. And this is 1,000. Why I put this? Did you see that it's the opposite? Greater support, 1,000. Low risk, 1,000. High risk, 0. So it's the opposite. Always think when you are doing a score is that this means something very positive on that project. Means that project is very positive on that criteria. And 0, very negative. So this why I put this, and this is something I use this all the time. So as the risk increases, I'm talking in terms of threats, the score becomes lower. Another example, and this is a multiple criteria. For example, benefit. So on the benefit side, I can measure the benefit, but if I'm not able to measure this benefit, I can put some criteria. For example, the way the development of knowledge happens, the way skills develop, and the way productivity and results appear. So look, these three are just examples, okay? So very low, for example, it does not develop knowledge. For example, that project does not develop any knowledge. Up to 100, 1,000, it develops knowledge that will revolutionize the business. For example, skills development does not develop any relevant skills. Up to 1,000, it develops critical skills that will improve company sustainability. And what happens most of the time when you are trying to figure out here, for example, you do this, you take a project and you say, okay, this project is here, and then it's here, and then it's here. So what will be? It will be 250 or 500. So usually what you do, you have two options. You use those who score most, or you try to do something like an average and you put, for example, 375. What is important in this kind of multiple criteria assessment on benefit is that you have consistency. If you do this like an average between the two areas, or the average even between the three, you can add 250, 250, 500 and divide it by 3 and get 333. You can do both. There is no wrong or right. What is wrong or right? It's if you use one style and one approach to one project and a different one to another project. Going here, why I put this? Net present value. It's when you bring the results to the present value. Most of the time we put this in numbers, but we can transform this into points on a point scale. Under $100,000, between $100,000 and 250, above $1 million, and this goes from 0 to 1,000. Of course, if the net present value or the result in the current of the current project in the present is higher, it's more attractive, that project. This is a very good for you to translate financial terms into points. Internal expertise, this I really like it. It determines how much internal expertise do I have to deliver this project. For example, if the team is really proficient on that subject, 1,000. If the team has no clue on how to do that, 0. So let's suppose you have a project that is competing, project A with project B, and you want to evaluate that. If you have internal expertise, means the risks will be lower, and then you can deliver better results. Why I did this? Because this is a type of criteria that most of the time people are blindfolded. People will go only to this. And many times there is a project that may deliver a smaller profit and a smaller result, but you have such an internal expertise that it's very easy for you to make it. Then it's a good choice. It's like, for example, I love one article I saw on Medium when someone said, what do you prefer? Do you prefer a project that it will take you a week of work and will make you 100% of the results, or do you prefer a project that will be ready tomorrow and make only 50%? So this is exactly because if I can get it tomorrow and make 50%, maybe it's a better option than wait 7 times more to get to the other 50. And this is the tricky point when you are selecting the best alternatives. And last but not least, level of third-party dependence. For example, do I need to rely on suppliers, consultants, and this? If I need to rely, okay, on third party, then it's 0, means I will increase the risk, and that project will depend on so much effort from others that it will be very challenging. But if I do not depend, everything relies on myself and my team or my area, then it's 1,000, then it's a super nice project. Why I did this? Please, I'm not saying that you should follow this, but what I want just to open your mind, because when you are comparing projects, you need to create a framework of criteria. It can be these ones, it can be many other criteria, but you need to have some ideas of relevant criteria where you will be able to take an apple and compare with an orange and understand based on your criteria and your set of desired criteria, is it better on that case to eat and have an apple or an orange? Did you see? This is exactly what I'm trying to do. In the link above, you can download a set of criteria that I prepared to you just to give you some insights that you can use. This will be there plus many others, and then you can just use them. You can tailor, you can use a scale from 0 to 1,000, 0 to 10. But what is important is that you bring consistency to your analysis and your criteria in order to select the right projects and the right alternatives. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. I always publish videos on project management, strategy implementation, careers in project management on this channel. Stay tuned.